Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. This is an episode of Parks and Conversation. And the episode of this conversation is Parks. I'm going to start over.
Keep it.
Keep it? All right. I'm keeping it then.
This is what the people want.
They want the real deal.
That's
None
right.
of this super polished podcastery that we've been putting out in the world. They want the warts and all.
Yeah, we didn't put any filters over this episode.
No filters. No filters.
Hashtag no hashtags.
Hashtag, do we still hashtag if there's no Twitter to hashtag?
Oof.
So we'll see, though, listener. We are recording in your past and you're listening in your present. And we don't know if Twitter exists at that time because a billionaire is crazy.
But if it does, be sure to follow us for all the live updates of the show that we've never done.
So many active tweets from at Parks and Convos. So my name is Jason. I'm joined all the way across town by the power of the internet by my friend Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh man, it is going well. It is almost time for Thanksgiving, which is a day of eating and thankfulness. And I am looking forward to it. So that's where I'm at. How are you?
I'm right there with you, just because it means it's fall. And
It is fall.
Once again, it's indoors times. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that it's almost Thanksgiving.
It is confusing though. You know, as this episode is being released, it will be released on Thanksgiving. So
look at you working on the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even supposed to be here today.
Nah.
So
are you getting paid like double time?
so much double time. And so, listener, if you are listening to this on Thanksgiving, hey,
go say hi to your uncle for me.
I get it, but go say hi to your family. And maybe you are listening as you're out running, trying to earn some turkey and gravy and stuff. I don't know. Whatever it takes, do that. Yesterday,
earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn those calories.
Okay.
Yesterday, my daughter, whom I love, said, I want to make a cake. And I said, let's go to the store right now and get everything you need. So she's going to make a cake this afternoon. So we went to QFC and they had a display of gravy, but you know those Premier protein drinks that come in like an adult juice box?
Yeah.
The gravy was in one of those. So I took a picture and I sent it to my dad saying, do you want me to pick some of your juice boxes up? So anyway, I'm excited. It's going to be a good Thanksgiving, I believe.
Oh, man.
So, Jeremy, we're not here to talk about Thanksgiving. We're here to talk about
gravy in a box. I'm for it.
You know, it really doesn't make any difference. The delivery system.
No.
I mean, it's all delicious.
It's like a boba tea straw, like that you got to get it out. It's like gravy. You're not going to be drinking that out of one of those little apple juice box straws.
Well, no, it has one of those twist lid things that comes out, so it's like a big hole.
Like a broth box.
Yeah, so you can just drink that right out of there.
Just go for it. Okay,
just mainline it.
Right, shotgun it, stab a hole in the other end. Just go for it.
I mean, now I know what you're going to be thinking about the rest of the day.
Oh, so. Man, gravy stands. I'm just going to be doing gravy like I did in college. It's been a while.
That episode later on in Parks and Rec where there's a stew stand.
Dude, stew is awesome. It's not a soup, and it's not I don't know. It's thicker than stew.
Well,
but it's
stew. Here's my theory. The world has a lot of the same foods. We just call it different things, right? And so stew, chili, and curry. I think those are binders in our culture, in our world. If we could all come along and say, you know what, your curry is a lot like my chili. Let's be friends.
Yeah. I put cornbread in mine. You got naan in yours. Let's do this.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. And so where you put like a curry, stew, chili, I think it's its own category outside of soup, outside of like entree. I think it's called the Peacemakers.
100%. Yeah.
So, yeah. it is time to start thinking about our campaign for president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. It's a stew-based platform.
Yeah, so it's a little squishy, but delicious, and you smell terrible afterwards.
And that's food talk.
Yeah, it was not planned. Never is. So in this episode of Parks and Conversation, it's called The Filibuster, Jeremy. It's season 6, episode 5.
We're up to a great start. We could just filibuster this whole episode about Thanksgiving stew and food and turkey.
Yeah, well, later they're going to talk about cake.
Yeah, white meat or dark meat.
I'm meat blind. I like both.
You're meat gnostic.
Yeah.
So you are mayonnaise with your turkey?
Wait, with?
Yeah, like Miracle Whip.
Hold up. What? Well, Miracle Whip is not mayonnaise. First of all,
it's in the same family.
Well, it's
a mayo. Okay, listener. Somebody, I know we haven't had a lot of town forums or not, but there has to be other people out there that have used Miracle Whip with their turkey.
It.
No, with their turkey at Thanksgiving. Like it's like cranberry sauce and Miracle Whip, like a dish of Miracle Whip. I can't be the only one.
A dish of Miracle Whip? You just put it on the turkey?
No, like a side, like I said, like cranberry sauce on the side.
You're eating it with a spoon?
Not eating it with a spoon. You're putting it off to the side, like a little fork dab, and then like cranberry, like kind of like a dip, like a side, like a chutney, but a mayo, like a Miracle Whip chutney, or just Miracle Whip.
I have never heard of this in my entire life, and I've heard of a lot of things.
You don't like ketchup with your macaroni and cheese either, so.
Well, no, I don't like ketchup with really anything.
That's true.
Because everything you put on ketchup on just tastes like ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't enhance the flavor. It covers over everything else.
That's right. And well done steak and ketchup. Perfect.
I can't today.
Microwave salmon and ketchup.
Oh, that's so gross. Oh, could you recommend a ketchup with my fish?
Oh yeah, you got to do the Portland ketchup. That's one of the best ketchups out there.
A ketchup sommelier.
We have 3.
You have 3 different kinds of ketchup?
Well, yeah, there's Heinz, Hunt's, and Portland. Everything else is, well, I don't know. And also sometimes we serve the little packs of ketchup.
Fancy ketchup?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yeah. Fancy ketchup in the pack.
I did go to the root beer place that serves burgers off of Highway 99. I-90. You know what I'm talking about? In Issaquah? You can see it from the road.
Triple X.
Triple X burger, right?
Yeah, I'm like,
or root beer.
I thought it was a root beer store.
Well,
anyway, continue.
I was going there and I didn't know exactly how to get there from the freeway because I've never been there before. This comes back around to ketchup.
Perfect.
So I had to search for it. And as I'm searching it in my internet, I'm like, no, I can't look this up. I can't have this in my search history. I don't know what's going to show up if you type in XXX root beer. Like, Ben is super into women in skates in this episode. So
perfect. That's an awesome segue.
I don't know what is going on the internet. Sometimes it's like, whoa, I was just looking for Miracle again. So
it would just be like Vin Diesel drinking a root beer.
Oh, that would be amazing if they were able to get like this one restaurant to be able to get a media tie-in with the Triple X franchise for that one place. And it's like he jumps out of an airplane with no parachute, and the only thing that can save him is the foam of the root beer. You're welcome, Hollywood.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Anyway, so I go there and they serve ketchup in the packets. And I was like, all right, well, these fries are good, but I bet this would be an okay ketchup situation. And so I thought, I'll try it. And I opened the ketchup, and the first thing that came out was not ketchup. It was ketchup juice.
Oh yeah, 100%. You are a noob to the ketchup packet. You gotta squish it on each side, like back and forth.
Yeah,
you gotta mix it up.
I just was like, I can't with this, and so I had no ketchup that day. And you know what? Turns out I didn't miss it at all. But I did have a delicious patty melt from there, and it was a lot of food, and I didn't eat until lunch the next day. So
I have a family member who puts their ketchup directly on the fries. like all over the fries and then eats them. Not with a fork and spoon, but with their hand still, versus picking up the fry, dipping it in the ketchup, and eating it.
Is this a family member that like lives in your house?
No, it is not. It doesn't.
I'm going to start narrowing it down.
No, because nobody else knows. I just like, again, Miracle Whip with turkey, or do you apply your ketchup to the fries or the fries to the ketchup?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can just email us, parksofconversation@gmail.com. We'd love to hear about this. Mainly Jeremy would love to hear about this. Yeah. Well, now that we've solved those things,
I guess we should talk about this episode.
We should definitely get into this.
I yield my time.
You yield the balance of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So, Jeremy, this is the filibuster, and there are, by my reckoning, 4 plot lines in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Leslie finds out that Jam is trying to disenfranchise the Eagletonians from voting, and so she's going to filibuster that council meeting to buy time so that Eagletonians could vote in the upcoming recall election. Then we also have April and Andy. Andy has a surprised April coming home early and spends 19 hours together, which is great. And then we have the Tom and She-Hulk relationship and how that's going.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Ron and his frustration with video games, but also his love of a video game. And so those are the 4 lines. Am I missing any lines? It seems like a lot of plot lines, but
yeah, no, they're small.
All right. Okay. So which way should we go first here, Jeremy? What do you think?
Let's do Andy and April. Can I do that one?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so April is on the computer. They're gonna get ready to Skype. Larry comes in and is like, "Oh, that's so cute." She's like, "I'm gonna murder you." And then Andy comes in with his guitar, and they hang out. And then they're just having a great time and catching up and making out, hanging out. And then he is saying how awesome England is and that he's crushing it like Chuck Norris. And then it's time to leave. And she's like, "I'm just so proud of Andy." He gets in the taxi cab and he's driving away. And then he jumps into a dumpster, but she sees him. And then she's like, "What's up?" And then they talk and he's like, "Oh, I'm a fraud. I don't know what I'm doing." And she's like, "No, nobody knows what they're doing." And he's like, "You're right, babe." And then they go to the party. I think they skate somewhere in there. And then he jumps back in the dumpster when it's time to leave. And she's like, "Seriously, what's going on?" And he had lost his wallet in there the whole time. And then he tries to eat some noodles. But she's like, "Dude, I made you bologna sandwiches." And he's like, "Oh, did you use cookies?" And she's like, "Yes." And he's like, "You think of everything, babe." And then he goes back to England.
He nailed it.
I was just trying to make up for my filibuster time. That plot line wasn't super funny. Like it was there's like the cookie sandwich is kind of funny. And then he's like, "I am like Chuck Norris, but I'm exactly like Chuck Norris, karate chop and everything. But like now I'm like old Chuck Norris with the beard and I can't really do anything. And I live in England. The parallels are so eerily similar." And that was probably the best joke.
Well, I thought the best joke in that plot line really was early on when Andy comes back and, he's singing his song and everything. And April's so excited to see him. And they were going to do a Skype call. And she's like, "I'm home for the next 19 hours. You're going to need that computer again." And he kicks the monitor off the platform or off the desk. And I just love that he thinks that's the computer.
Right.
That makes me laugh every time people think that the monitor is the computer, because it's not. It's just a monitor, guys.
Unless it's an iMac,
which nobody buys anymore.
It's true. No, I know. I'm just
those are cool though. The new ones are pretty cool.
Yeah, the documents are in the computer.
Wait, you can read minds? It's from Zoolander.
Uh-huh.
Great job summing that whole plot line up. I really love the efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And also I love that Andy tries to explain brilliant instead of cool. So anytime you have a friend who does international travel and it imprints on them pretty hard, that can be super annoying. So Also, another funny joke is when Andy says, I'm going back to London. Just remember, when you look up at the moon, I too will be looking at a moon, not the same moon, obviously. That's impossible. So it is the same moon, Andy.
If Fievel has taught us anything, it's the same moon.
But I think there is a nugget of truth in what Andy is saying.
Are you denying that it's the moon?
No, it is the moon, but the hours difference makes it like, so it's daytime and nighttime, they would be different. So it would be not at the exact same time, probably they're looking at the moon, but it is the same moon. There's one moon around this planet Earth that we call Earth, and it is round. The moon is also round. They are not flat. The end.
The end. Shut it down, boys. We did it.
Yeah. If you have a friend who believes the Earth is flat, then don't invite them to Thanksgiving. Or, flip side, invite them to Thanksgiving and make sure that's the only thing y'all talk about.
The only thing is flat Earth?
Yeah. Tell us more about your fascinating theories. Like Chris being super into reasonableism. So,
I'm a reasonableist.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. We nailed that whole plot line. We did it.
Now do Ron and
Ron and Donna?
Ron and Donna. Rana.
Okay. Well, Ron and Donna's plotline kicks off at the birthday party.
Right.
So Leslie is going to throw a early 90s themed birthday party for Ben at the roller rink. And so all their friends are there. And so while Ron is waiting for the party to start, which is, I also think is funny that Ron is even at this party. Like, this shows you how much Ron actually likes his coworkers now. He's going to a roller rink for a birthday party.
Oh, he didn't go for Ben. He's there because it's Leslie. He knows that he would never hear the end of it if he missed this.
Potentially. But also, I think some of his best restaurants in Pawnee are in unlikely places. And so I bet he probably knows, they have a really good corn dog here.
I have had some of the best biscuits and gravy of my entire life at a bowling alley.
Oh, man.
From the restaurant, not just randomly, somebody left it there. Man, Carl brought biscuits and gravy again.
All these people putting their hands in strange orbs. Now, they made breakfast for you.
Sharing shoes
and food. You could cook these biscuits and gravies right in those shoes. Keeps them nice and warm.
Hey, that Lysol is a disinfectant. You won't get sick. Kills the bacteria.
Sure. If only we could inject the Lysol into our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You made some kind of cleaning with some light.
Never get sick again.
Oh, this guy is running for president again. All right. So, Ron and Donna. Okay.
Yeah. They're at the party. He's there.
They're at the party. And Donna is playing deer hunter or big buck hunter. There's various names for this kind of video game. And she's crushing it. And Ron is impressed. And he's like, is that a hunting game? And so, Donna's like, yeah, you want to play it? And he's like, yes, absolutely. And so then he starts talking about all of the subtleties of hunting. And he sucks at this game.
Because it's not real hunting.
Right. And so, and Donna is kind of rubbing it in his face. You suck at this. And then he's like, I want my money back. And he stands in such a way where he's going to karate chop the video game to dismantle it to get his money back. We find out that he's not a sore loser. It's just that he prefers to win. And when he doesn't, he gets furious.
And this stuff that he says is it's absurd. Not only that the gun is lightweight. Okay, that's pretty funny, and we are far too close to these deer. Would they not smell us?
Would they not smell us? Yeah. Yeah. All of these things about this, Ron is frustrated, but here's the problem with video games. And you have this experience right now as you are playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. There are things in the game that will frustrate you to no end. And because you're an adult person, it's I should be better than this. This should not beat me. And so Ron is like us in this, in that he falls into the I should be better than thisness of video games. And he starts wasting a ton of money on this whole thing.
Yeah, because the cartoon characters are getting the better of you.
Right. And it's so annoying. And Donna, again, is like, you suck at this. It's just a game, which you happen to suck at. And Ron's like, you know what? That's right. It's a good point. And Donna's like, what? That you suck at this? And he's like, no, come with me. And they go real hunting outside and in the dark. And Ron's got his bow and Donna's got a rifle. And Ron's like, no hunting, no quarters required.
That was the part too. I was like, what are you saying that because like you're saving money? You have like $1,000 worth of bow and arrow equipment right there.
Yeah. I think it mostly is, I don't know about you, but I used to go to the arcade when I was a kid. Now they all do cards and stuff. But I would save up my quarters. And I would walk down to the arcade, which was at Godfather's Pizza, was the best arcade in my neighborhood. It was a long walk, have the whole lunch buffet thing. Anyway, there's reasons I weigh what I weigh right now. But I would go with a pocket full of quarters. And so when you're hunting, if you have a pocket full of quarters, you're going to make a lot of noise. You're going to scare the deer away. And then also you're going to smell metallic. You're going to smell like a grandma after a weekend of gambling at the casino. And so deer know what that is and they take off. So
yeah, smoke and failure.
Yeah, which happens to be our Twitter profile where we give political insight to Newsmax. So Donna's ready to go and she's like, you have a license, right? Because you need a license. And Ron just stares at her and then they both start laughing. and like, I thought you were serious. And she's like, no, I don't give a care. So, so they go hunting, they kill something and Ron, they're cooking it over a fire already. And Ron's like, fresh air, real weapons, honest kill. There's no substitute for the real thing. And Donna's like, you just want to go back and play that game. He's like, yes. So they clean it up and they go back to play the game.
How long is that party?
Oh, well, I mean, this council meeting is hours long and Ron is a very efficient hunter in real life.
That's true. All right.
And
yeah. Good
I don't know how far out of town they drove, but I mean, he's using a bow. So there probably isn't a lot of gunshots that are going to get people's attention. He could have just gone to the park. He could have just gone to Ramsett Park and killed himself a raccoon.
Right, exactly.
Because they're so like abundant and raccoon meat is probably delicious. It's one of the cutest of meats. So Ron is coming back in with a bag full of quarters and talking to Morris, is like, excuse me, worker, bring me a bucket of beers and 4 hot dogs. And Morris is like, why are you covered in blood? And I love Donna. It's like, don't worry, it's not human.
Yeah, it's fine.
And so Ron goes to the computer, to the video game. He's like, I hope you have made peace with your god, small electronic deer. And he just goes after it. And turns out he's getting better and better. He kills 3, which is a new record. And so he cracks into the top 10. And Donna said, now you get to put in your initials. And this,
rad.
Well, that's what I would have done when I was a kid. But this is a definite conflict for Ron because his initials are private. It's
RUS. Russ.
Yeah, that's all it is. And that's enough information that Ron thinks that people will find out that that's him.
Mm-hmm. That he actually enjoyed something out in public.
Right. So instead, like an 8-year-old who recently learned a swear word, he writes in ASS and giggles like a child.
And so does Donna, which is great.
They love it. It's so good. So, so that's a fun storyline. I do love that when they go out into the woods and Donna's like, you have a permit, right? And that shared knowing, like, well, we don't care about these things. So
yeah, they're Parks and Rec. They're above the law.
Yeah. Ron's whole thing is like, I can do what I want. That's his permit.
Yeah.
I am the director of the parks department and this is a park. So, all right. The next line is with Tom and She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tackle it?
Yeah. Heck yes. Just
Heck yes.
Find the color.
It's blue.
Blue.
You tackling that will let me also drink my coffee. So.
Oh, perfect. Ooh, what kind of coffee?
Black coffee.
Yeah, but I mean, from where? Like,
it's Starbucks on my way home from my meeting that I was at. So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Only because, listener, Jason does like home coffee and usually has really good beans, coffee beans. Yeah. So let's see here. They're going to 90s party where we've got April and she's talking to Anne, and they're all. Where are they with this at this point?
Or they're at the rink. Yeah,
that's right. Okay. And so April's like, let's see. Anne is dressed up like Blossom, who is a character from a 90s sitcom show. And how do you say her name? Mayim Bialik.
Mayim Bialik, current co-host of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so anyway, April is dressed up as a pilgrim, which I thought that was kind of funny. And she goes, "What are you dressed as? Why?" And she's like, "Well," she said, "it was." Leslie said, "Come as you were in the 90s." I assumed it was 1690s. And Andy's like, "Well, we'd all be mummies if it was 1690. And Anne's like, "What do you think mummies are?" He's like, "Skeletons." And then Nadia shows up, and she came straight from work, and so
which is great as a theme for nurses and doctors for Halloween in this episode. They always come as nurses or doctors to Halloween things
in the show.
I find that funny.
Yeah. And then Tom is dressed up like one of the members of Criss Cross, which was a duo rap group, I guess you could say, of some young kids, and their claim to fame was putting on their clothes on backwards. Yeah. So the back of the shirt was in the front.
Did any of the people that you were in school with, your peers, did any of them try this?
No.
Yeah. My school people tried this.
Oh yeah.
It did not go well, Chris.
Wearing their cross color jeans and
yeah, it was all bad. Like, why are you doing this? His name was Chris. I was like, Chris, stop doing this. You like Tom points out, like if you have to go to the bathroom, he had to drop his pants like a toddler.
And then talking head of Tom basically saying like, I don't know how I'm even hanging out with Nadia. She's way out of my league. In fact, we're not even playing the same sport. Like she's like in the NBA and I work in a muffler shop next door. And then he's like, "Dude, why do you got to go on your vacation?" And he's like, "I'm going to Rwanda, Doctors Without Borders." And he was exactly, it's a stupid vacation. And she's like, "You know what? Why don't you just win me this bear as a going away present so I can remember you?" And he's like, "All right, I'm in." And he's like, "Besides, I'm a really good skee-ball player." And she goes, "Well, no way. Why didn't you go pro?" And he goes, "I don't know. I didn't want to be cliche. Yet another Indian skee-ball player." She's like, "Right." So Tom is going to get tickets, and he needs 40,000 tickets. And Nadia basically says, "If you don't win that, you're dead to me," but in a very joking, fun manner. But Tom's taking it kind of seriously because he really digs Nadia and he wants to give her this present. And so he's like, "Okay, I gotta make up some ground here, cover." And he grabs two of the skee balls and he's going to go up and put them like in the top two holes, which is
10,000 circles.
That's the scam spot. But you can hit it, but you got to bank it. You can't go directly for it. Anyway, I love skee ball's great.
Skee-ball is so much fun and so frustrating.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it just takes one ball to like just ruin the whole. Like I was on a roll, no pun intended. And she calls him out and says, "Hey, is he allowed to do that?" And Morris is like, "No, get off, dude." And he's like, "Oh hey, is that Bailey?
Yeah,
you're supposed to be my lookout." And she's like, "I thought it'd be funny if you got busted." And he says, "You're a doctor, snitches get stitches," which is one of the funniest Peyton Manning SNL sketches. So if you haven't seen that, look that up.
Yeah.
And then
quick, can I jump in here? Because one of the things that I love about this episode is we finally get to see what Morris does for work.
Right.
Because we've encountered Morris in the town forums. And one of my favorites is when he's like, "Why would you go rent a movie? Every movie's online for free." As they're trying to talk about like, "Hey, this video rental store is going out of business." Like, of course it is. Everything's for free. And now we see like maybe the reason why Morris isn't renting anything is because he works at a roller rink.
Oh,
so I mean,
shout out to all my roller rink people out there.
He doesn't have a great job. So, and even as he's doing his job, like his boss will reprimand him, and his boss is younger than him. So, but getting to see these folks of Pawnee outside of their town forumness,
right,
is always fun. So
those the tertiary characters, and so then that brings in, that's perfect because Anne walks up to the counter and goes, "Oh my goodness, this is the exact same bear I had when I was a kid. How much does it cost?" And Morris is like, 40,000 tickets. She's like, "Okay, well, let's just assume I'm an adult who doesn't have 2 weeks to play games." And she's like, "What about $50?" And he goes, "Fine, just don't tell my boss." And that's when Mr. Bonderman walks by and says, "What are you doing, Morris?" And he goes, "Nothing, sir. Tuck in your shirt." And Mr. Bonderman just thoroughly disgusted with Morris's unprofessionalism at the skating rink.
I don't know how I would do if I was required to call somebody younger than me Mr. anything.
It would have to be just dripping in sarcasm.
It would be so painful.
Yes, so, Mr. Bonderman.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not trying to be like an ageist here, but like I don't call anybody Mr. anything. And I'm somebody with a title. I have 2 titles. Like if I want to be fancy, that I could demand people use for me based on my job, and I don't, because titles are terrible. But yeah, it is. Mr. is even worse. So I've told my kids, like, if your friends come over and they say, "How are you, Mr. Dooman?" I will say, "Please, Mr. Dooman is my dad's name. You can call me Dr. Dooman." And they haven't brought anybody over.
It's working. You did it.
So yeah, that's all part of the plan.
Good. Perfect. As long as you have a plan, right? So Tom sees that Anne now has this bear, and he says, "What are you doing with this bear?" Trying to win it for Nadia. And she's like, "About $50. And
we also learned that she taught herself how to make out with this bear, pretending that it was Cockroach from the Cosby Show.
And Nadia's like, "Hey, Blossom, what are you doing with my bear?" And she goes, "I bought it for myself, but sorry, I bought it." And Tom's like, "I still have some tickets though, Nadia. I could get you a Ninja Turtle balloon or Cliffhanger on VHS." That's great.
It's such a great poll. I was knowing this episode was coming up. I was scrolling through.
Did you watch Cliffhanger to get ready?
Not yet, because I saw it was on like HBO or something, and so I recorded it. So I'm planning to watch Cliffhanger. I've seen it before. It's a great movie. It's so stupid and so great, and John Lithgow is amazing. So
and Sylvester Stallone and Chris O'Donnell, right?
Yes,
yeah.
It's an awesome movie. It's an awesomely awesome 90s movie. So
I just can't believe how they ended it.
Yeah. Well. I don't remember.
No, it was a cliffhanger. Anyway, so
all this time I've been waiting for Cliffhanger 2. Back on the ground.
Hanging around. So Nadia's like, "That's so sweet. You basically offered me garbage." And she's like, "Let's go skate." And Tom's like, just telling Anne, it's like, talking head, and he's like, "There's probably just rich guys in Rwanda that are going to give her whatever she wants, so I got to get this bear."
Right.
And so that's, is Tom gets fixated on things shouldn't be, and he goes to Anne. He says, "I need that bear. I got to give her something that's just remember me when she's in Africa." And she's like, "Tom, bear or no bear, she likes you. Why don't you just do the smart thing and hang out? Like, just hang out with her, spend some time with her,
make a memory."
Yeah, and Anne's like, "Besides, how do you even get girls like her or me?" And this is Tom, one of his best lines in the whole series. And he's like, "No, scientists say emotions of love and hate are very close to each other." And he says, "That's what I tell women. And the point is, she's leaving in 2 days. You got to go hang out with her." And he's like, "I know, I appreciate that. Conversations like these are hard for you because you still have feelings for me." And she's like, "Run or I'll punch you." And he says, "No punchies," which is annoying. And so Nadia comes over. So we're kind of wrapping up this, and Anne's kind of hanging out on the bench on the other side, the one that smells like feet in a roller rink, because that's where everyone takes off their skates. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Hey, Nadia's like, can I talk to you for a second about Tom?" "Sure. Looks like you guys are having fun. I just want you to know that I think you're really cool, and because you dated him, he must be a really good guy." And she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to give you a hug." And so she hugs, and she's like, "Whoa, this is a really long hug." And then she's like, "Now." Nadia says, "Now." And Tom comes around the corner, grabs the bear, and runs away. But he tosses her some money and says, "Here's your money." And Nadia says, "Suck it." And Anne's like, "Wait a minute, this is $8. which is hilarious. So then they're just hanging out, Nadia and Tom, and saying this was so much fun. And Nadia's like, yes, together we truly did steal a toy from your pregnant friend. Mm-hmm. And so Tom's like, I know we just met, but could we hang out like maybe when you come back, And she's like, don't be so clingy. He's like, sorry. And she's like, no, I'm just joking. Of course, I will call you when I come back. And that's when Anne runs by, grabs her bareback and says, so long, sucker. And then they take off after Anne. And I'm just assuming it's a whole Keystone Coppers thing after that. Where they run through a door, and then there's two of them, and then they go the opposite direction, and then Frankenstein comes out, and then there's the bear, and then the bear's chasing them. Yeah. That's in the extras, I think.
Yeah, I totally see all of that happening. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right, bring us home. Or anything. Right. Sorry, anything else there?
No, nailed it.
Okay.
Nailed it. All right. Dude. So with the Leslie plot line, we start in the council chambers, and they're going through all these different bills to try to make it so that only official Pawnee residents can vote in the election. So somebody without somebody with an Eagleton address cannot vote. So they are disenfranchising people. And this is one of those times, every time they get into election stuff, it is just so frustrating because it's all real. It's not fake.
Yeah, it's supposed to be satire.
And this stuff keeps happening in real life where we try to disenfranchise people from voting. And here we have Leslie standing up for the rights of all the people who now are a part of Pawnee, whether or not they are new to town or Eagletonian garbage. So Leslie is trying to do everything she can to make sure people vote, recognizing that Jam is doing everything he can to get her recalled. And he tried to put her name on the ballot as Leslie Buttface Hitler the Fourth.
Because there were three other Leslie Buttface Hitlers.
Right. And so she's just one more in a long line of terrible people. And so everything that she's trying to do, they're tabling until after the election. So Leslie is trying to do everything to table their motions to make it so that people with only a Pawnee address can vote. So she tables to after the election, and Councilman Hauser agrees with her, and she gets so excited and spills his coffee all over him. And she's like, I'm just so excited when you like me. And Leslie is back in her office, and she's like, I can't believe they're trying to rob me of those votes. Those are my votes. I've earned them. I want them. Give me those votes. And Ben is with her. He's like, I don't have them. But Ben is like, hey, look, Jam's horrible, but we have something important to do here. Do you want to have one more practice session before the party? And he holds up the roller skates. And this is where Leslie explains this whole party, this birthday party, which is an early 90s theme. And I love that it's the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 90s, early 90s. And this is Ben's favorite era, music, fashion, everything about it. And he just really loves women in skates as well. And then it cuts to Ben, and he's like, everyone has a thing, and that's mine. I could be one of those dudes that kisses mannequins or whatever. I like a woman in skates. A lot. So Ben's got problems that he's working through here, but it's okay. It's all right. And so they're in the hallway with Larry, and they're going to practice doing one more run of their couple skate to Losing My Religion by REM, which as they start, it's so dumb. Like that he's holding
bow to each other.
Well, yeah, he's holding prayer hands, and like it's like, oh, this is all bad. And then Chris runs up to tell them they have a problem, that Jeremy is putting forward his motion. He called an emergency session of city council to try to get his vote through to make it so only Pawnee residents can vote.
But Chris's outfit is amazing because he's basically dressed up like Rob Lowe from the early 90s.
Yes. Yeah. He's Rob Lowe
all denim.
From the Outsiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great.
Which is 1985, but we'll round up to the early 90s.
I do think that Rob Lowe probably wore that exact outfit probably 75% of the time, and from the era of 90 to 93.
Yeah. If you look back at that, like he really does look like Billy from Stranger Things, or Billy from Stranger Things really looks like Rob Lowe.
Isn't that
like
his son?
A lot. Oh, is it?
I thought that was his son.
Oh, could be.
They look the same.
Keep talking, Jason. Okay. For no other reason than I will listen to you.
So
type.
Leslie like comes in and is like, "Hey, I thought this was tabled," and he's like, "Yeah, I untabled it." And he's like, "Why are you in skates?" And she starts to explain, like, "I don't care. I'm a Blades guy."
And this sneer. It's the stupid little sneer.
It's so great. And the head bob.
And
I'm a Blades guy.
The lean back bob. Gotcha.
So, yeah. You got jammed. And so he is trying to push this forward, and Leslie's like, "No, I'm gonna filibuster this whole thing." And his response is, "Are you duking on my chest right now?"
Come on, man.
Which is so gross. And so she's gonna filibuster this thing, and Chris points out she's filibustering on roller skates. She's gonna be strapped into those things for hours, and Ben is like, "I know this is terrible, but this is a crazy fantasy of mine." So, so the whole time, Ben is going to have some, his thoughts will be elsewhere. And so cuts to Leslie talking about the first time she voted and all of these different things and how her stuffed animal beat another stuffed animal because, well, the other one had more funding. What are you going to do? And this is all when she's 5 years old. And she's like, "How long am I talking? 3 hours? No, 8 minutes." So she's not doing well. So she is going to sit down at this point and take off her shoes, and then that's a strike. And Ben's kind of disappointed as well. I was like,
every time she gets a strike, Jeremy Jam brought his gong.
Yeah, he brought a gong because he loves Chinese crap. Lucy Lou, Nintendo, Gangnam Style, sushi, etc., etc.
I just can't wait till we get to Jam's house. It instantly just made me think of that.
Yes. Oh, Jeremy Jam. So awful.
You guys want some eggs?
It's a hibachi. Oh my word. So they Hauser is also not a big fan of this gong in this whole thing because it's super loud. And so cut back to Leslie now without her skates, quoting Ronald Reagan. As Ronald Reagan would say, "Well, Mommy, I believe voting rights are important." And then she's like, "Is it hot in here?" And Jeremy then points out that he turned the heat up to 90 and the knob broke off.
Whoopsies.
And so, so Leslie, and then she says, like, "Listen, there's other things that I'd rather be doing, like, or thinking about, like my husband's Reservoir Dog themed birthday cake and wanting to eat it really badly." And Ben's like, "Oh, that's a bad sign." When she starts thinking about birthday cake, that's all she's going to think about until she eats birthday cake. And then she starts making a metaphor about democracy and the layers of a cake and all this different stuff. And so it is not going great. But then all these people come in from Eagleton and they are on Leslie's side. They want the right to vote, and they're here to celebrate Leslie preserving their right to vote. And Leslie is so excited, and she's a warrior. They're all warriors of democracy, and she's looking forward to this, and she's got a second win, and she's ready to go. And Chris cuts back to Chris saying how inspired he is to see all these Eagletonians putting aside their prejudices and talking to a resident there, and like, "Man, this is great, giving Leslie a fighting chance." And they're like, "Well, we're not here to keep Leslie. We want to actually vote somebody else in, but we want the right to vote."
Oh, man.
And so this is a definite challenge here for Leslie. But cut back to Leslie giving in her speech with the line, "We stand on the side of Rosa Parks and Gandhi and Team Aniston." So this is going great. And so Ben is trying to get a note to her, and he throws a piece of paper, and she picks it up and reads it and says, "Oh, they're going to take my vote. They're going to vote for somebody else from Eagleton." And Jam is like, "Hey, that's strike 2. You can't have help from the people," and like hits the gong, and then Hauser comes over and grabs it, and he's like, "Hey man, the reverb's the best part." Leslie then has to make a decision. Like, I need to think about this. And, she decides, like, you know what? I don't want anybody to lose the right to vote in my town. And so even if they're going to vote against me, I'm going to continue on this crazy filibuster. So fast forward to 30 minutes to go. It's so hot, and she's got to go to the bathroom, and all this stuff is building up. And
literally,
and Jam brought a margarita maker, and he starts making margaritas. And Leslie really wants that marg, and so
I want to drink it.
Yeah, and so she's tempted with the sweet, cool, frosty refresh of crushed ice and margarita mix, but she resists because she wants people to vote. And then Ben cuts back, and Ben has read through the whole charter, and there's no way to get her a bathroom break unless we bring the bathroom to her. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
And so. And then Chris points out she's dancing like one of those cartoons from Peanuts, and like cuts to her like doing the little Peanuts dance. So then Jeremy starts pouring water, and he's saying like, "You need to go pee pee times, make wee wee," and they're counting down the 5 seconds. They do it, they finish it, and everybody's happy. Votes are saved. Ben wants to give her a hug, and she's like, "No, I got to go to the Whiz Palace." But then she stops and comes back and pours the margarita on Jeremy Jam, who is furious because it's his beautiful curls. And Ben is a little like, "Well, she couldn't hug me, but she had time to do that." And then
there's always time for revenge.
There's always time for revenge. That's a Klingon saying. And so the credit scene comes into the credit scene, and Leslie comes out of the bathroom to talk to Ben. It's like, "Oh, that was so epic. I was peeing so freaking hard. It was like a jacuzzi jet." And Ben is like pointing at, and Ingrid, Kristen Bell, is behind Leslie. And Leslie's like, "Hey, I wasn't talking about the velocity of my pee because you are a very smart and classy lady." And so this is where we find out that Ingrid is the one who is going to be put forward to take Leslie's spot. And she's like, "Listen, it was courageous, it was selfless, and I know if I win, I'm going to have very big roller skates to fill." And then, "Could I take you for a celebratory plate of," I think you call them waffles?
Waffles?
And Leslie's like, "No, I'm going to take my husband. We missed his birthday party, so I'm going to spend the rest of the evening with him. Rain check." And they're like, "Okay, great." And then Leslie apologizes. "Sorry, your birthday got all screwed up." And Ben's like, "Well, you must be exhausted, and we don't have to go to the party." He's like, "Oh, we're not going to the party. We're going home." And then she's like, "Then why would we need to put on the roller skates?" I was like, "Oh, yeah. Okay, we're just skates." And that's the end. So,
yay.
Yeah. There's a lot in this episode. They crammed a lot of stuff into this 22-minute episode. I think my favorite part of this whole thing is Ron and Donna, because I have also played a video game for way too long just because I was mad at it. So
was that Breath of the Wild?
No, Metroid Dread. It's so hard, and there's a boss that I just can't beat, and I'm stuck, and I'm so mad. Mad.
You'll get there. We believe in you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. That's just what I needed.
Like, if you were to say early 90s, where would you cut off early 90s? Like,
I would cut off
95?
At like 5. No, I would cut off at July 93.
July 93. Why not 94? Because if you're doing the decimal rounding system, it's got to be 94.
Well, I don't need to do that. Those aren't my rules.
Well, I'm just rounding rule. Only because I I just wanted to list some of the, just for the people who are roughly our age or understand that era, like what some of those top songs were. Because throughout the episode, we heard them talk about, we heard some of the music from back then. So like Losing My Religion, I'm Gonna Be, the I Would Walk 500 Miles by the Proclaimers, Unbelievable by EMF, and their extensive catalog, Hey Jealousy by Gin Blossoms, Crush with Eyeliner, REM, and But Anyway by Blues Traveler. So that was what was there in the actual episode. But it got me thinking, what were some of the other songs of that early 90s era?
Yeah, and, they don't have Automatic of the People for the people, but they have Monster.
Right, exactly. What about Document? That was late 80s, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, like, so yeah, let me throw a few out here. Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers, 1991. Smells Like Teen Spirit, 91. Let's see here. Basket Case by Green Day was in 1994.
I would be fine not having any Green Day in the playlist.
Okay. What about Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, 1994 as well?
Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm going to hold to my rules. It's July 93.
What is Love by Hathaway from the, you know, What is Love?
I know the song.
Baby Don't Hurt. Yeah, 1993.
Yeah, it fits.
Let's see. Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, guys. TLC, 1994.
No, it doesn't fit.
Did you see the sign from Ace of Base in 1992?
It would fit, but I would prefer not to have it.
Yeah, your 93 thing is really messing me up. Cannonball by the Breeders, 1993.
Okay. That'll work.
Stay, I Missed You by Lisa Loeb, 1994.
Pass.
And one of your favorite bands, Buddy Holly by Weezer, 1994.
You know,
you coming around on the Weezer train?
No, that song's fun. That's all. But again, the rules are the rules. July 93.
The rules are Sure Shot by the Beastie Boys in 1994. You're missing so many good musics just from 4 to 5, man. Fantasy by Mariah Carey?
Pass. I would let that Beastie Boys song in as like a look to the future moment. And maybe as they're closing down the roller skating party to say those were the best songs of the early 90s ending in July 1993. But let's look to the future and see what the Beastie Boys have for us in their laboratory of great music and play that. And then everybody leaves. And then Ron is still hunting deer. That's how I would do it.
Fade to Black.
Yeah. It's Paint to Black by Rolling Stones. It's much older than the 90s.
It's cool. It predates it, so it can stay. Yeah, season 6 episode. Oh, so let's see here. Filibuster garnered an 8.0 on the IMDb's with 1,800 votes. And next episode, hopefully next week. Well, actually
next week is actually Thanksgiving, so we're probably not going to record on Thursday next week. Maybe. I mean, Friday. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You know, family and all that. Recall vote. So actually, we get the culmination of all of these things happening with the recall of Leslie, and that's what we have to look forward to.
All right. Well, it'll be fun times.
It will be. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, listener. And if you're not hanging out with family or whatever, there's probably something open somewhere.
Yeah, just wait until Ross Dress for Less opens for their Black Friday sales, which was something that my family did one time because we wanted to leave the awkwardness of what was happening at the family gathering. And we're like, oh yeah, we heard Ross has a sale. Everything I just said to you was true.
That's amazing.
We left that family gathering at 7 p.m. on Thanksgiving to go to Ross Dress for Less.
Wow. That's how bad it got.
It was... I can't get into detail about why it was so awkward, but it was one of those things where it's like, we have to be here, but they didn't say we had to stay here. So we left.
We put in our time.
And Ross was the closest store and the earliest opening.
Okay. I was wondering why it was Ross. Part of the TJ Maxx Ross family, Home Goods. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was awful. And we just walked around and I don't know if you know this about Black Friday sales and Ross. Every day is a Black Friday day sale at Ross. So there was literally nothing different other than everybody else is opening. Ross isn't going to miss out on that.
Heck no.
So yeah, it was so bad. It was so awful.
Well, hopefully you have some amazing Thanksgiving stories. If you guys have any Parks and Rec occurrences during your Thanksgiving, write us. Let us know. Let us know how it went.
Send us an email.
Yeah.
parksandconversation@gmail.com.
Let's converse.
And parks. All right, well, then we should wrap it up here. Let's let people go. And if you are wondering if your turkey is dry, the answer is probably yes. So happy Thanksgiving.